Tainted Grail Conquest. If Slay the Spire and Dark Souls made sweet love and had a baby, it would probably be something like Tainted Grail, and boy does it live up to its parents' name. Tainted Grail is a deck-building roguelike and an RPG at the same time. The game came out on the 27th of May, published and developed by Awakened Realms Digital, and it's only 15 British pounds, so like 20-ish dollars, and is sitting at very positive reviews. It originally came out in early access in June 2020, and fully released this week on the 27th of May. But you haven't come here just for me to read off the Steam page, so let's get into what the game is it fun, is it good, and ultimately, is it worth buying and playing? So the premise of the story is, it was based on a board game. I'm only going to be talking about what I've experienced in the game and what is in the game, the story that tells, not any lore outside of the game. Not to confuse you further, but there are two games in this series as well. There's the roguelike deck builder that I'll be talking about today, Tainted Grail Conquest, and then there's a full RPG story game that's going to release later this year. I think that's called Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. They're both completely standalone games. Think something like Final Fantasy normal release and then like a Final Fantasy Tactics game. Two completely separate types, but in the same genre with the same characters. So with that out of the way, to start you off, you have died, and some strange goat-like creature of the afterlife welcomes you into this weird world that you've now joined. There's a big tie into like King Arthur, Merlin, and the Knights of the Round Table. There's magic, death, and some really weird stuff involved. There's an absolute shit ton of lore in this game that I can't really cover in this review. But to keep it simple, you're kind of half dead, very similar to Dark Souls, where the world is dying, there's no light left in the world, and you have to walk around with a torch to keep, your sanity and keep what's left of your humanity without being attacked by all these weird dark spirits. The whole world has been taken over by this thing called weirdness, with a Y, a strange black fog that summons monsters and powers these creatures' abilities, and you have to push through with a torch, finding your way through the darkness, fighting the monsters, and finding these ancient beings. And as you do that, you unlock more of the story and you learn more about the game. It feels like they're trying to tell like a whole mythology here, like think like Greek mythology, where it's so invested and it's so hard to understand. There's so many supporting characters and lore and these hidden relationships and things that have happened and stories they can tell. And that's what they do here. All the NPCs tell a little story and a little bit of flavor to the game. And that's all backed by the big story, the big, the best thing everyone knows about mythology, the main characters. But if you take the time to understand all the little bits, the game is so good and the story really holds up more than I thought it would in this sort of game. So you basically push through the story, learn from all these little characters, and kill the big guardians. As you do that, you'll unlock the big chunks of story, and you'll unlock the main characters, which will give you the main quests and progress you further into the game. Now, I've covered a few roguelikes on this channel, and this is one. It has the most random events and content of any I've ever played. You think something like Binding of Isaac, it's well known for having a million combinations and a million different things you can do and so many different events. I'll show you a claim that from the developer here. There are 9 classes, 460 cards, 340 skills, 50 masteries, and more. And we're going to get into all of that. But there is so much to do here that I can't do it justice in this one review. So first thing I want to talk about is the most important thing, the combat. This is why you buy a roguelike deck builder, right? And honestly, hands down, this is one of the best I have ever played. I've got like over 350 hours in Slay the Spire. I've played all the others like Darkest Dungeon, Griftlands, Monster Train, all those other deck builders. Not many grip me like Slay the Spire does. And I want to tell you, this doesn't just fit that category, it's a strong contender for one of the best roguelike deck builders I've ever played. And I want to tell you why. So the combat works in turns. You flesh out your deck by winning battles, buying cards, leveling up, and other events. And then in combat, you use energy to play the cards, and they're discarded when you've played them. Very standard stuff like all the other games out there. And then there's a ton of effects, statuses, and abilities in the game, such as armor, stuns, blocks, barriers. You can summon minions, buffs, debuffs, heals, weaknesses. Normally I would list all the different effects, but there is literally too many. There's too much variety that I can't go through it all. I can just tell you what categories they fit into. And that's because of the amount of characters in the game. So if there was just one character, this would be a pretty good game, like it'd be okay. But what makes it, a standout, incredible game is there are 9 characters and everyone you play is different. And they're so different. Think Slay the Spire if you've played that. I know I keep talking about that, it's one of my favorites. But every character is so different. You've got the big big attacking damage dealer, and then you've got the robot, and then you've got like a stealthy poison person. It's exactly the same as that. Every character you play here has a different base set of cards and a completely different playstyle. So I've unlocked so far 4 characters, and they all have their own builds. They all have their own cards that you unlock from leveling up. They all have their own like equipment to flesh out, and so much stuff to build on one character that when you switch characters, you're not back at the start, but you do kind of have to relearn that character and rebuild that character's skill set. So like I said, the character's super different. The first guy that you play as is like a typical warrior. And then I unlocked 2 that are by far my favorite. So there's like a summoner who can summon different beasts, like these worms, these aberrations, these golems, and then you can level these guys up. You can strengthen them, synergize them, combo with them, buff them. And the character is all about minion management. You rarely attack on your own. And then there's this like archer character who shoots arrows, and all his abilities are about cycling through different arrows. He's got a shadow so that whenever you attack, the shadow attacks too. You can build up an ultimate ability that unleashes like 15 arrows in one turn. It's crazy fun. Some are harder than others. I think it's hard for them to balance so many characters, and it wouldn't surprise me if there is a certain build or a certain character that's insanely overpowered. Personally, I've not found it. Every character feels super hard so far, but they are so diverse and unique and fun that I could see myself playing as, say, the summoner for the whole of today and not master it. And to think there'd be 8 more characters, there is so much value and replayability in this game because of how much effort they've put into the characters. And that's what makes this stand out as one of the single best deck builder experiences I've ever played, hands down. It's added by the fact the game is so brutal, punishing, and rewarding. But as someone who's played Slay the Spire, like, you know, at least once a week for the last, since it came out really, which is a few years, this is quickly topping my list as one of the best experiences ever. So yeah, with that out of the way, off the back of that, I just want to talk about the worst part of the game. So let's come down from the hype. It does have its problems outside of combat. Combat is its strength, its core, and the best thing about the game. But off the back of that is the exploration. It really, really was lacking for me. With such exciting combat, it's all I wanted to do. Outside of combat, I just wanted story and decisions. I wanted a fight, and then I wanted, this is a shop, now buy something and your next fight. Here's a decision, do you do this or this, and here's your next fight. That's all I wanted from the game. But you have to wander around the darkness with a torch, exploring, trying to find either your next fight, the next boss, or other events and NPCs, and it's dry. Mostly because everything looks the same. It's just dark, gloomy, and you can't really see. But because it's a randomized roguelike, it's all just random paths and random events. So you're always lost, you're always confused, and you never have any direction. You never know if the person you're going to talk to next is a quest giver, a new character, or an enemy that's going to betray you. But you can open up into like a room, and there'll be 6 characters or 6 things you can interact with, and you don't know which to go to because you don't know what's what, and you don't know if going left is going to get you to the boss or right is going to get you to the boss. It's such a strange... I don't know why they've done it this way, because, you know, most roguelikes are well known for having a clear and distinct quick paths. But this seems to waste your time on this open world exploration map, which really just isn't its strongest point. It kind of sucks, and I wish they'd just let you like pathfind, or, you know, choose story mode where you just go through and can cut out the exploration. Maybe that'll come in the future, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that that is in the game. And if you, for some reason, when you go on like Steam, all their videos show the exploration and show how cool the exploration side is, but the combat is the good bit. The exploration is rubbish in my opinion. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Let's move on. Outside of all that, let's talk about the random events and NPCs. And this again is a huge positive. So you're basically there's this small village alone in the darkness that the story opens you up to, and you're the sole inhabitant. As you progress into the darkness with your one mission of going and fighting these 4 legendary monsters, you will find other people. So similar to Dark Souls again, you're going to find these lost souls and characters. Some are just gripping to reality and trying to, you know, they think they're still alive, or they have some unfinished task from their life that they need help with. And some are notable characters. So you'll find a blacksmith who can open a shop and upgrade your character for permanent perks and growth. Shopkeepers, and I think there's like 5 or 6 permanent characters you can bring back. And they're all pretty cool and pretty unique. But then there's like 15 to 20 NPC characters that give like quests to sell. Um, and you by saving them from the darkness, they don't come back to your town, but they unlock like perks, abilities, or new systems in the game. There's also a full quest system in the game. So, for example, I helped this one like lost soul complete a quest, and he turned into a wolf. And now I have a permanent wolf companion in the town that I can take out into the open world, and it unlocks wolf cards to train and power up the wolf ally in battle, which is mad. Outside of that, there's so many like random um, standard roguelike things like trade your health for experience or risk this thing, risk going into this place and you could get power or you could die. And there's loads of stuff like that. And it's all really dark and eerie. Like one of my favorites is you go to like this shop, this shopkeeper type guy, and he's got like a bouquets of flowers, and you go up to the shop and you look to buy the flowers, and all the flowers are made of body parts. So you have like a bouquet of fingers and like a bouquet of hands, and it's everything is so weird and eerie like that that you look forward to every next encounter you have, and it constantly surprises you with how weird it gets. I can see now the video has gone over 10 minutes. I've definitely been going on for a long time. I could keep talking forever about the story, the different classes, the combo synergies I've tried, all the cool and unique events, how dark and weird the story gets, or the layers of the different character abilities. Honestly, I don't want to ruin the game for you, and I don't want this to be a 40-minute video. If you like dark and eerie games like Dark Souls or Darkest Dungeon, and you like roguelike deck builders, do not hesitate on this game. Honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. The game comes with 9 characters that are totally different, nearly 500 different cards, tons of upgrades and systems. Most games I review on this channel I receive for free. I always mention it in my videos. The developers send you copies of games and you cover it if you like it. And most reviews are that. But this, a few people were telling me how good it was and they kept telling me to get it. And I got it. I wasn't even thinking about YouTube and it wasn't even in my mind. And I got so addicted to this game and I fell so in love with it that I had to make the video. I'm so shocked that there isn't like more publicity around it. There doesn't seem to be much marketing, exposure, or coverage about the game. And it's kind of a shame because I honestly believe the more people who play this, it would just spread like wildfire because it holds up on its own. The game is fun, addictive, and it's an absolute bargain for £15. Should you play Tainted Grail Conquest? And is it worth buying? 100%. It's got its issues and there are things that could be improved. In spite of its issues, it still holds up as one of the best roguelike deck builders I've ever played. If you're not into that kind of thing and you want like an RPG, this ain't it. Outside of deck building and combat, the game's crap. It really is. Don't buy it for the exploration side, in my opinion. But if you want a strategic deck builder, go get this now, 100%. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. If you like the look of it, let me know. Are you going to buy it? Is it your kind of thing? Or what's putting you off? It's not for everyone. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Consider subbing to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll catch you in the next one.